This right here, what is this? I was only looking for the catastrophic mutating event that was going to strike the Earth in 2 years, and that was supposed to happen by January of next year. But now this shows up, the 2030 spike. Earth now, there will be 4 in 2030. And what will happen? Also witness these events as awful as the attack. Oh my God, what is the CIA looking for? Hello there, Dustin. This is, I don't, this is really strange because this is all my search was this morning. The catastrophic mutating event, the cyber apocalypse, the world is heading for it. And then like the real ID, and then the biometric database, the Homeland Security, this right here too. But then I'm over here scrolling down and there's a 2030 CIA spike countdown. It's a PDF document. I gotta click into it. Well, now. Oh my gosh. Upgrading the individual. You know you're gonna get an upgrade. Hello. You got notification? You better get notification because the CIA is an authoritative source. If you ain't getting if they're trying to say the CIA is not an authoritative like source, they got another thing coming, right? That's right. And now look at this, you all. This right here. No, see, we got to look at this. This is the CIA. I just CIA 2030. This. How long has the sound been off? Did it just now go off? Probably it's on now. It's okay. Yeah. I don't know what I was saying before the sound went off. Oh, you got notifications. Good morning. We're good. We are on. I don't know how long it was off. I was talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger and his bionic eye. He took his eye out because it was bionic because this was him. He was a Terminator, but he came back from the future. I really do believe that they can see in the future. If they could not see in the future, they would not be doing the Simpsons videos that predicted, you know, who's returning to the president and the female president, and then all this other kind of stuff that they got going on. Let's look at this. This is, I was going to do the catastrophic mutating event, and I still am, but I scrolled down and I found the CIA spike right there. And we're going to look at that because I have not heard of that. Actually, I'm going to download the PDF because I want to download it. I might take time to read it. It's Earth Scan, the 2030 Spike Countdown to Global Catastrophe. Looks like it's something from 2003. It's only 256 pages, you all. We can read that right now. We can scan 236 pages right now. You know we can. We got the ability within our being to just be, poof, scan it. Actually, it's going to put it in a download and we'll be able to get it really well. We will. The drivers, they're running out of fuel. We're going to run out of fuel. The population is going to be some poverty. There's going to be climate. There's going to be famines. There's going to be one world. The fourth horseman. Why on earth is the CIA talking about the fourth horseman? This is interesting. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do the crisis mode. This literally is on the CIA. They probably had a remote viewer go into the future. This is their compound. This is really important. The crisis mode is this. If I had my one thing on, I would be able to we will see a remarkable and dangerous confluence of world events and trends, a spike on the graph paper of life. Oh my gosh. That will influence humanity for good or ill as never before. Combating the worst effects of this will require an urgent action informed by the clearest possible understanding of where we are now and where we might go. Wow. Look, Bill Clinton, a global consciousness. We have to something, okay. He said something is unlikely. Let's see. That hope is unlikely to be realized by 2030, no matter what we do, but its effective social and economic reform can be started now, and we could see a peaceful and productive transition to a new society shaped by, successfully adapted to, on the oncoming adverse of the 2030. A prospect of a world order better than the planet has ever seen. You all, they got a new world order. That's what they said. This is the CIA thing, is what they're telling you their plan. Anybody can read that because it could have got out there for public view. How we do, and that's why they're building the underground bunkers. They got a new world order. Automation of the industry, universally high standards. Here's what it says. We have the best educated generation ever. Can y'all hear me over here? Wealth and potential wealth, though badly distributed, are at the highest, and increasing the automation of industry and agriculture promises almost universal high living standards and an end to the tyranny of heavy and tedious work. Well, who said their work is heavy and tedious? People like to work, they really do. The world's population may stabilize, but only if the poverty afflicting most humans is alleviated. All right, so the adverse world. Here's what they say could happen. It could be better than the planet has ever seen. The prospect of a new world order. Here's the bad part right here. Or the near future could be bad enough to kill tens of millions of people in a variety of terrible ways, and even plunge us into a global dark age and damage the very foundations of life, which could take centuries to repair. They're harbingers of disaster. This is the CIA right here. Harbingers of these disasters are already with us. As I write these words, an ugly and costly war is smoldering. 20 million are facing starvation. Warnings. I don't know when this was written. Considerable evidence for the 2030. Okay. We've got oil resource at a little under 1 trillion barrels World's consumption. Okay, let me see. Let me see this. Okay, cut the food supplies. This will have a major, something's going to have a major cut. Unexpected consequences would not at least a significant, would leave a significant cut in food supplies for a population that will grow to 8 billion by that time. Well, it's already surpassed 8 billion is what it has. Already surpassed it. There's going to be 1 billion people facing absolute water shortage by 2025. This is the CIA. They're going to have war over the use of the world river by 2032. Water wars, famine, Amazon rainforest. Okay, we just want to get to the fast stuff because I can't make this a big video. Now this is wild. This is really, really wild. You can look at the table. I was going to say table of events. The drivers. Dangerous confluence in the world. Twins. Not twins. We're running out of fuel. Running out of fuel. They got energy. Well, no, we're not. Population and poverty. The climate will be too hot or too cold. I wonder if they're going to say we're going to have a mini Earth age. You think they're going to say mini Earth age? A mini ice age? Gina, well, you got that face in the electrical things. I don't know. We're going to run out of electricity. Going to have a cyber event, a catastrophic mutating event. We're going to run out of electricity probably. Greenhouse gases warming up. 55 million. Too hot or too cold? If they said too hot or too cold, then there's bound to be something about a mini ice age. There's bound to be something in here. Hello, you just tuning in. This is the CIA's. They're talking about the climate. It's a 256, and now we're going to have a one world. And just look at the chapter 6. We could say 666. Most consider thinking about world government suggests slow progressive evolution, a time which nations surrender some of their powers by careful multilateral agreement. Let me see if I can get down here. What else does it say? We're going to see the CIA warning is what they're doing. And where's the they're not even doing that. There is opposition to the establishment of the International Criminal Court, and other international agreements indicate that most of the world's biggest powers are against a global initiative. Okay. I guess the United States isn't, since they have did it. And we have a fourth horseman. The fourth horseman. Extinction of the human race is an active. I just had a deja vu just now. I literally did a deja vu. I've been here, done that. I have. Extinction of the human race is an active possibility. All it would take is the detonation of less than half of nuclear weapons in the world in a deadly cloud that would extend to every corner of the globe. Why did they say every corner? Circles don't have corners. Every corner of the globe. We got the Four Horsemen. Every corner of the, it's just a figure of speech. And kill most of us from radiation and sickness. Well, most. Most means only a little bit are going to be left. The rest would succumb to famine as the sun dimmed and photosynthesis stopped. Our art, our buildings, our bridges, our roads would crumble and return to forest languages. Writing and music would be forgotten, as indeed would be the human race. Wow. That's kind of dark and dreary. The human race would be forgotten. How dreary that might be. Some may say it would be grandeur. Well, take your grandeur, and put it where the sun don't shine, since it's not going to be shining anywhere in this right here. Photosynthesis is not going to be happening. But you bring out the fourth horseman. They did. Music would be forgotten, and indeed would be the human race as if it had never existed. That is someone's vision. I can tell you right now. This apocalyptic vision describes something that is possible and soon. It's possible and it's soon possible. Hello. Dustin, honey, is it fear? Or is it wishful thinking? Or is it something that could quite possibly come true in the future if they get it wrong? I think it could possibly come true in the future. If this is, if Earth is due to have a reset, and if it's had many resets before, I could see how something like this would play out, and they would redo history all over again, take us back to the Stone Age, wipe out the whole race, start over with a few that got saved, and rebuild. That's how they've done it in the past with Noah's Ark. And then if you think about the mud flood, it's been done before. And what if the human race is an experiment? Really, what if it is? What if we're in a Petri dish? What if Earth is a classroom and we got all these other extraterrestrials standing above and they're watching the human race thinking, man, they didn't get it right. It's time to wipe the planet clean. Let's bring... And if you got Enlil and Inky up there, you know, going back and forth, it could be quite possible. It really could be, since there's much more to this earth than what meets the eye. And there is a whole lot more, but they brung out the Fourth Horseman for a reason. The early years of Millennium 3, did you know we have a Millennium 3? Brought new and dangerous implications of war, the killing of nearly 3,000. Okay, we can't say that. Okay, so now we got which way for science. We got directions. They're looking for directions. Okay, good luck. Which way, science? Science is going to, sounds like the financial system. The world is no doubt that the world has the skills and resources to cope with 2030 drivers. The real issues is the productive institutions moving in the right direction. If they're not, what do we need to do about it? The world's financial systems, let's see. We're just going to get a little insight. Look, if we're already on page 81, I told you we can read 256 pages all at once. It's quite simple when you skim through it. Just go to the topics and you go down and see their 2030 initiative. So does this override the WEF? I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, well, they, motives of profit and military power should not be allowed to shape our society's technological priorities. Genetic engineering seems to generate almost many disadvantages as disadvantages. They're admitting genetic engineering has advantages and disadvantages. Then they got to talk about CERN. Look at CERN. Why do you have to talk about CERN? Huge and expensive particle accelerators like CERN have cost billions of dollars. The International Space Station, the most expensive construction project in human history, has cost $40 billion already. A final bill will reach $100 billion. Well, it's okay. We spend trillions of dollars and give them away. They've given away. How much are they? They've already given away more than this to something, and more than that, quite possibly. And you want to complain about that? No. No, they're giving away. The world is increasingly enamored with materialism. Yes, it is. And gadgets, and it's growing in the number of people. The American stuff. All right, you got it. Frugal. Individual. Okay, so we got that. It's in the genes. Okay, this is the CIA. You're just tuning in. New plants and new people. There's the plan right there. You got some new plants and new people coming about. And you may not be in that new plants or new people. I'm just telling you right now, we got the CIA 2030 something. Yeah, a major catastrophic changes, and they got the Four Horsemen that they have already brought in. We just read about the Four Horsemen, and it doesn't sound too pleasant. There's going to be problems, and they're forewarning people of a genetic predisposition to illnesses, and it has been possible for years, and it will become more and more common. That's what they said in here. It's going to become common. Genetic engineering of plants may provide more food in the developing world, but concerns remain about the consequences of it in the long term. After much discussion, UNESCO produced a universal, did you know this? UNESCO has produced a universal declaration on the human genome and the human rights, which was endorsed by the United Nations in 1999, but support for it in many countries is conditional at best. Well, it doesn't sound too good for us now, does it? These were among the issues raised at a major international conference of bioethics in Salzburg in 2000. Literally hundreds of meetings around the world present, remarkably diverse collection of views and attitude, techniques to alter the basic nature of living things through genetic engineering, by removing and rearranging the genes, or even by adding new genes to produce the offspring with new characteristics. Biology has become the science attracting the liveliest public interest. So you just read this. These were among the issues raised at a major international conference, one of literally hundreds of meetings around the world presently. They have already decided the fate of humanity, which what they want. This is documented by the CIA. They mapped out the genetic structure of the 23 pairs of human chromosomes present in every cell. Humans have about 35,000 genes, which have been identified to within 3.2 billion genetic letters. Genetic letters, at least 95% appear to have no meaning. Well, what's that mean? No meaning. So what are you going to do with them? 4 different molecular bases are a code of instructions to the cell to make specialized proteins. They control the body's structure, development, and maintenance. You can see right here, DNA can be considered in computer terms as software, whereas proteins are the hardware. If you did not know it, when a gene is faulty or missing, an abnormal missing protein can cause illness. Osteoporosis, all right. It's a massive task. Mapping, okay, where we at? Mapping the human genome, a massive task completed in 2000, was a necessary start to even more formidable unraveling of the human genetic code and establishing its significance and its potential for improving health. So they're going to do that. It has attracted critics, they said. Of course it did. Look at this. And in an important area of work, I'm going to read this, involves identifying the genetic marker places where genetic codes of different people vary by just 1 letter. These single nucleotide polymorphins, as they are called, are needed to trace the variations, which are often complex and which can be predispose people to disease. They noted the risk that we might be carried off to places that we might very well choose not to go, says this person, Miss Barbara. She said, we may not want to go, such as the development of biological weapons which target particular racial groups. Did she just say that? Wow. She just did. We're talking about the CIA right there. An official government website, the CIA, you can see it, where we just might not want to go. Profit-driven genetic screening, especially for untreatable conditions, have attracted critics. Discrimination in the workplace from insurers as a hemochromatosis, condition in which iron builds up to deadly levels in the body. Oh, iron and clay. All right, so we're going to talk about a simple swab to detect. This right here, a condition where iron builds up to deadly levels in the body, seem to be obvious values since this can be treated with blood transfusions, but it is a virtue in telling individuals and their families that they may lose their minds 20 years time because they have a gene for this right here. There's controversies with doing this right here. Will genetic modifications simply carry out what scientists intend, or will they result in the unattended, possibly dangerous consequences? Will genetic crops, oh my gosh, contaminate the traditional or organic crops growing nearby through cross-pollination? Will the insecticides genetically introduced into food crop poison species other than insects, perhaps even humans? This is the CIA. I'm just tuning in. Agrochemical, dangerous. To what extent do they already... Look, will huge agrochemical Mr. Gates's acquire dangerous political power by controlling the food production? To what extent do they already influence the governments to protect them from opposition to their products? Could the power to choose the sex of a prospective whatever create serious population imbalances? Could cloned humans, and she did say cloned, be made in different lines, specialized as workers, prostitutes, soldiers, or be genetically altered to be unnaturally compliant, brutal, or aggressive? Will a divorcement of sex from reproduction become common, causing profound social changes? All of these possibilities have been canvassed. I'm just saying this, right? CIA article wrote a great chain of being, a divinely ordained, immutable hierarchy of life, which among other things established, white Europeans as superior race with the right, even the mission to dominate the inferior races. Racism, apparently sanctified by science, led to the forcible shipping of this to America. Slaves and colonial powers, science during the first decade of the 20th century. The Nazi dictatorship in Germany, the killing of Jews. They wanted the Aryan height. Winston Churchill, when he was Homeland Security in 1910, were considered so inflammatory by succeeding the British governments were not made public. What? The highest image. An iron law of the weak to cease wavering be eliminated. So if you were not a certain whatever, you're going to get eliminated. It's the perfect race. It's the perfect race. Doesn't matter where you're black or white or whatever. In this instance, they have a perfect race that they want to create. They want their own species. They want a thrifty, energetic, and superior stock. That's why there was something about Antarctica, how they took the women from Ukraine and they took some soldiers. They were very selective and they took them underground into these facilities and they were doing their thing, the cloning. It's important to keep history and eugenics in mind. Wow, this is awful. The problems of 2030 will be severe enough without the added complication of eugenic experimentation. Genetic engineering has the power to make eugenic experimentations more feasible and more extreme. Look at that. You can pay lots of money. People are prepared to pay large sums of money to have attractive children in 1999 auction of embryos. Did you know that? A 1999 auction of embryos from a selection of good-looking models in the United States demonstrates. By 2003, American companies were seeking eggs from attractive, intelligent Australian women's. Well, so that's this one area right here. This is the CIA 2030 problems. Hello. There's many to pick from. Listen, GM crops generally involve users buying seeds as part of a package that includes the same company's herbicides. Almost 80% of those developed in the West are of this type. The policies of the giant agrochemical multinationals have been summarized this way. Today, 70% of genetically modified crops are engineered not to improve their food value, but to make them more dependent on the seed companies, their own brand of agrochemicals. Cases of the weeds becoming immune to weed killers popped up in 2000. I wanted to see, do any of you all remember this video I did? And it's a very touchy topic. It was something that I found, I think it was around 4 years ago. I was doing some kind of research and they were hypothesizing. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. They were hypothesizing of exterminating the black race. They were. We did a video on that and I shared the documentation that I found that in. I don't even know how it popped up. They were insinuating that. These evil bastards, let me call them bastards because they're evil and they're bastards. They were doing that. And if I'm not mistaken, I know the video got put onto the Facebook and it caused an uproar. This is where I was first starting off. I said, am I supposed to even, I don't even know how I found it. It is on this YouTube channel somewhere. I was thinking about that the other day. They went too far. They have went way too far.